Good morning. Welcome to my Louise Hay Trust Life presentation, tidbit, tapping things you can use. So October the 20th, can you hear in the background? Of course they quit. You can hear those little squeaking noises. We had puppies yesterday, little Maggie, our Yorkie Chihuahua cross, and the daddy is a poodle. We had new little puppies yesterday. They were born about 3 or 4 days early, so we were quite surprised, and we didn't have her own kennel. We didn't have the maternity ward set up yet. So she had them in the kennel with the other two dogs. And thankfully the other 2 dogs were just fine with her because my husband was in the house. I had Maria at a dance class, and my husband was in the house, and he could hear this squeaking sound. He thought, then it registered, oh, there'd be puppies on the ground. There were 2 puppies already born. A little chilly. We got them all warmed up, and they're all just happy now. So that's my little puppy interlude. Louise says, I trust the guidance of the universe. In the infinity of life where we all are, all is perfect. Now, in my work with Louise Hay and her literature and her things that she teaches, she always says, in the infinity of life where we all are, all is perfect. Think about that. Let that resonate. I'll come back to that one. All is perfect, whole, and complete. We rejoice in knowing that we are one with the power that created us. I've heard her say this on video, on YouTube. This power loves all its creations, including us. We are the beloved child of the universe and have been given everything. We are the highest form of life on this planet and have been equipped with all that we need for every experience we shall have. That's an interesting one. We are the highest form of life on this planet, and we have been equipped with all that we need for every experience we will have. Our minds are always connected to the one infinite mind. Therefore, all knowledge and wisdom is available to us if we believe it is so. We trust ourselves to create only that which is for our highest good and greatest joy, that which is perfect for our spiritual growth and evolution. We love who we are. We are particularly delighted with the incantation we have chosen in this lifetime. We know that we can, from moment to moment, shape and reshape our personalities and even our bodies to further express our greatest potential. We rejoice in our unlimitedness and know that before us lies the totality of possibilities in every area. We trust totally in the one power, and we know that all is well in our world. Now, in each one of those sentences is almost a whole workshop. We could discuss those things at length. The one I want to go back to is, we know that we can, from moment to moment, shape and reshape our personalities and even our bodies to further express our greatest potential. So in the New Thought movement, or New Age, not even New Age, but in this movement of consciousness, let's call it the consciousness movement, there is a lot of things that talk about transformation. Now I'm going to invite in a new word, transmutation. There's a transformation, means you transform something from one thing to another, or you transform it, like transformers in electricity, step down the amount of power, or step up the amount of power. But transmutation is a little bit different. In transmutation, our very nature changes. And so we become something else. And she talks here about, we know that we can, from moment to moment, shape and reshape our personalities and even our bodies to further express our greatest potential. So in some people, their personality has a tendency towards wanting to always look at the dark side of things, to look at the negative side of things, maybe to hold anger and act in anger a lot. And whether that's a personality or a conditioned response, who knows? But it becomes the go-to, it becomes the reflex. And so it becomes part of our personality to be grumpy or to be looking at scarcity. And so how do we change and adjust and transmute those things so that that's not our reflex? It's awareness. It's awareness of these things, and that's why I said each one of these sentences can be a workshop in itself. In the infinity of life where we all are, all is perfect, whole, and complete. We rejoice in knowing that we are one with the power that created us. So the first of all, the first thought there is, do you believe that there's a power that created you? Do you believe that the universe is friendly? So here we're now we're taking our belief and we're seeing how it guides our life. So if one person thinks there is no power out there, the universe is not friendly, they're going to receive experiences and activities in a totally different mindset. They're going to be very mind focused. They're going to be less us focused. They're going to be very possibly more resentful, more brittle around the edges. For someone that believes and has chosen to believe that the universe is friendly and that there is a power out there that is unconditional love, then that person is going to receive activities and is going to receive experiences in a different light. And so in that receiving, we actually can change our physical body, because when we receive things in a contracting way, of saying holding resentment and holding those emotions that contract us, then we actually make physical changes in our bodies. When we receive experiences in a way that expands us and choose to look at them, it says our minds are always connected to the one infinite mind. Therefore, all knowledge and wisdom is available to us if we believe it is so. Because that power of belief, Dr. Oh my goodness, can't pull his name out of Bruce Lipton. He's a cell biologist, and he's written a book called The Biology of Belief. The Biology of Belief. And so there's a biological process that happens in our bodies when we choose to believe certain things, because it sets up certain hormonal changes in our bodies and changes the way our bodies actually act and physically heal or don't heal. So the biology of things can be, we rejoice in knowing that we are one with the power that created us. There it is. Where was I reading there? We've been equipped for everything, all that we need for every experience that we have. So for every experience that we have, if we believe that the universe is friendly and we're having a difficult experience, our minds can search to that power, whatever you want to call it, that power, and say, what is the answer here? How do I navigate this difficult circumstance? Because if we're in a difficult circumstance that we're having difficulty in navigating and we don't believe that there's a power out there, then we're all alone. And that can feel pretty daunting and pretty fear-invoking, and that sets up a change in our in the chemistry of our body. Now, how do we get around that? How do we, when we go into those spaces of, is there really a higher power out there? Does it help me? We can do specific things with our bodies. So this is an EFT, Emotional Freedom Techniques, and Louise Hay connection here. So if we're afraid, say something's happened and we're in an experience that is difficult for us to manage. And this happens in our Qigong practice as well. We tap on certain meridians that release energy and allow energy to move and allow blockages to move through. And in the EFT process, we tap and talk at the same time. So we tap, first of all, on this little karate chop point right here between our baby finger joint and the wrist. And we can tap on that point, and as we tap on that point, we feel exactly what we feel. And we can say, even though this experience is really horrendous right now, I've got this difficult thing going on in my life and it doesn't seem to end. I love and accept myself and my circumstances fully. Now that might sound kind of strange. Here you are saying how horrible you feel, and then you're putting in this piece of love. We're working with a part of our brain called the amygdala. And the amygdala is the part of our brain that, first of all, assesses all stimulus that's coming through and all possibilities that's coming through, and decides if it's going to kill us, the organism. And if it's endangering the life of the organism, which is our body, the amygdala will say, run away, fight, or freeze. And it will pump adrenaline into us to take those actions. And so when the amygdala is in control of the brain, the rest of the brain, all that magnificent part of the brain, I don't even know all the parts of the brain, but all those parts of the brain don't get to function because the amygdala says, no, it's going to die. We're going to take care of this and get out of town or fight or disappear so that we either are not seen, or if we're going to get killed, if we disappear and disassociate, the pain won't be so great in that killing process. That's literally what the amygdala does in that freeze portion. So when we're tapping on that karate chop point, there's a direct meridian connection to the amygdala that says to the amygdala, you know what, there's something tapping going on, there's a rhythmic thing going on, and so if there is a rhythmic thing going on, maybe the danger isn't quite so high. Maybe I can release my control of the brain and allow the rest of the brain to work. And so it brings us out of fight, flight, or freeze and allows the rest of the brain to process things. So, but it is important to be able to feel all of what we're feeling. So we can say, even though this experience is whatever it is degrading, is terrifying, is, what's the other, anything that you're thinking of. So even though this experience is terrifying, let's go with terrifying. Even though this experience is terrifying, I love myself. I embrace the love of the universe for me. So here we are talking about how we feel and then bringing in that possibility of love. And as we do that, and as we tap on different meridians, so one of the meridians here is the stomach meridian. And so anxiety would sit in our stomachs. We can tap under our noses. All this fear, all this debilitating anxiety, all this fear that I'm feeling. And just blow up that feeling really big and flesh it out and open up all the little caverns and all the little, look behind all the little doorsteps and underneath everything and pull out and receive all of the fear. Just receive it. Receive it while we tap. And while I'm tapping, and I don't have anything specific that I'm thinking about at this moment, but as I tapped, I just immediately breathed in really deeply. And that's my body saying, whatever fears that you're tapping about, I know what they are. The body knows what they are. And it says, okay, I can release some of this. Because you're giving light to me, I can let go. If you don't give light to me, I got to crank up my message so that you'll hear the message. I'm scared. And so it'll crank up the message. Once we start listening to the message and go, oh, you're scared? I'm scared of this. I'm scared of that. I'm scared of this. I'm scared of that. I'm scared of this. I'm scared of that. Once we start listening to the messages and going, oh, I get it. Oh, I get it. We don't reinforce the fear. What we actually do is release it. Because then, as we're tapping through these fears, we can bring in some curiosity. Is it possible that there is a universe that's friendly to me? Is it possible that I can access higher wisdom to find ways to navigate this particular circumstance? Is it possible? And as we start saying, is it possible, our bodies start to receive a yes. And then we get little ideas. Oh, try this. Breathe in. Breathe deeply. Changes the physiology of our body. As we start to receive those little ideas and act on them, is it possible? Is it possible to receive love from the universe? And then we might go back into something else that says, no, but you don't deserve to be loved. And then we start again and just tap again, even though I don't feel like I deserve to be loved. And we can do this in the moment and do it in 30-second increments. We can also do it without looking like a weirdo in public going, I got to tap on myself. We can. Notice your organic, oftentimes we hold our hands together. Well, my hand is now on my karate chop point. I can massage that when I'm feeling anxious. Even though I'm feeling really anxious right now, nobody will notice what you're doing. Notice that the points are actually places that we organically go to. So you'll rub your forehead when you're really worried about something. You'll rub on your chin. We'll clutch our hands to our chest. That's your collarbone spot. We'll wrap our arms around ourselves. That's your under armpit. We'll scratch the top of our heads. That's the top. That's tapping on the top. So our bodies are organically moving to those things. Now we add some purpose to it with specific thoughts, with the idea that as we expose these thoughts and bring them into the light, we can release them. And then we can bring in other thoughts, other messages that will help our bodies to heal. I am loved by the universe. I am loved. There is a solution to this. I know the next step. Maybe I don't know the next step, but I will be inspired to that. I used to run marathons and ultra marathons. One little story I want to give you before I end. So I was running an ultra marathon. It was a 100-mile race, and you're not running beside other people in these things. You're by yourself in the wilderness, and your path is marked by little pieces of colored, what they call surveyor's tape. So they could be bright pink or they could be orange or something. It was about 4 a.m. This race goes overnight. It was about 4 a.m. one morning. And I was down on the river bottom, and sometimes the path is like an actual path, and then they'll just put little markers on the path and with little spikes. But sometimes the path is not a path. And they'll tie markers to a tree or something like that. And you have to go from marker to marker. What a metaphor for life. We go from marker to marker. And sometimes the markers are close together and sometimes they're far apart. So it's about 4 a.m. I've been up and on this trail and running and navigating this trail since 7 a.m. yesterday. So I've been going overnight, and I can't find my next marker. And if I go off course, I can't finish my race. And I'm already almost 24 hours into my race. And I'm like, I need to not get lost. I need to be on course, because if I get lost, I'm going to wander around. I don't know where I've gotten on, and it could really ruin the whole race. And so as I was stepping forward, and now I'm not running, I'm walking, and I've got a light on my head, and I've got a light in my hand, and it's dawn. So there's a little bit of light coming out of the sky. And as I walk forward and I can't find my path, I ask the universe. I breathe in and I ask, where is it? And a little feeling just says, look over your left shoulder. And I looked over my left shoulder, and sure enough, right about where this lamppost is, there is a little ribbon tied to a tree right about there that I was looking down on the ground for, and therefore I missed it. But I asked the universe for the answer, and I got that little tiny answer. It was just a tiny thought. Look over your left shoulder. Looked over my left shoulder, back on track. This is how the universe can guide us, moment by moment and breath by breath. It's very wonderful. And the universe always wants to guide us, absolutely wants to guide us. The universe, God, whatever you want to call the power, absolutely wants to guide us. But we have to ask. We have to seek it, because it's not going to control us. We have choice. So if this is helpful to you at all, drop something in the comments for me. I'm upgrading my website today, probably as we speak at the moment, and I'm integrating into some of my offerings a EFT Louise Hay practice group. So we get together for an hour on Zoom, and you bring up a topic and we'll tap about it, and we bring up another topic and we'll tap about it. So we can start unlocking some of the things in our bodies and in our minds that keep us blocked and keep emotional blockages in there, and release them. It's called Emotional Freedom Techniques. So go to my website, roxywright.com, and have a look. Probably by the end of the day, I just checked it about 10 minutes ago, and things aren't upgraded yet, but my webmaster is on it, so keep checking back. Namaste, I love you.